Welcome to lesson 1 in this section on how to lower your interest rate. This lesson is all about what are interest rates and why you should lower yours. So remember that the goal is by the end of this section, you will have the lowest possible interest rate on your loans to save you potentially thousands of dollars. Now, what are interest rates? So it's the percentage fee that your loan servicer charges in exchange for lending you their money. So, for example, Navient or Sallie Mae. Graduate school loan interest rates are normally between 6 to 9%. Now, what does that number really mean? Like, what does 7% or 9% really mean? It seems like a small number, but it is actually really, really large. So 7% on a $100,000 loan, if you are just paying the minimum payment, is actually $7,000 per year that you are being charged in interest, in extra cost beyond your principal loan amount. If you take that over 10 years, really simple math, that's over $70,000 in extra interest charges accrued. That is a huge, huge number, and it makes conquering your debt so much more difficult. Now, let's say you lowered your interest rate. How much would you really save? So let's take 2% on that same $100,000 loan. Yes, you are still being charged interest, but now that interest, if you're just paying the minimum, is only $2,000. That's a huge difference. To go from 7% to 2% means you're going from $7,000 to $2,000. That's a savings of $5,000 per year just by doing a couple simple steps and lowering your interest rate. Here's another graph to really illustrate, because I really want you to wrap your head around how important this is. So this graph, we're looking at the time it's going to take to pay off your loans. And you can see that in the red is 2% interest rate and 7% is in the blue. So you can see how that graph is really growing and accumulating and compounding in the cost to you. And so not only do you see how much of a difference it is to go from 7% to 2%, for example, in 2 years, that's almost a $5,000 savings. If you are paying off your loans in 5 years, you are going to be saving almost $13,000. And if it takes you 10 years to pay off your loans, just by getting an interest rate of 2% versus 7% saves you over $60,000. Now, not only does lowering your interest rate save you tens upon tens of thousands of dollars potentially, but it also really helps you actually pay off your loans faster. Because look at this timeline. If I pay off my loans in 2 years, I'm only trying to pay off $7,000 of interest or $2,000 of interest. If it takes me 5 years, look how much that interest is growing. And so if we have less interest, it allows us to pay it off faster, and it allows us to pay off our loans so much faster. And so you really want to try to get ahead of your principal loan amount, but also the interest, and lower your interest rate. So that's why I really encourage you in this section to make your plan as soon as possible and get the lowest interest rate on your loans to potentially save you thousands of dollars. Now, this is just the overview of what is an interest rate. Now we're going to be going through the next steps of how to refinance so that you can lower that interest rate. So I'll see you in the next lesson.